Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group represent about a movie review. We choose a movie Taare Zameen that is story about dyslexia. Before we proceed, I will introduce myself. My name is Putri Nobalkis binti Syahrun and my member is Hafiza Atirah binti Nordin, Nur Amirah Mushida binti Hazri, Farah Tasnim binti Muhammad Basri and Nur Amirah binti Muhammad Arif. This is the movie that we review, Taare Zameen is Putri Nobalkis. I will tell to you the synopsis of movie Taare Zameen Par. The film explores the life and imagination of Ishan Awasti, is a 8 years old dyslexia child, a boy who had a school and learning as she finds all the subject difficult and it frequently beliked and disliked by both his teacher and his classmates. His imagination, creativity and talent for art and painting are often unnoticed by other people. His father, Nakisha Awasti, is a successful executive who expects his children to excel, and his mother, Maya Awasti, is a housewife frustrated by her inability to educate Ishan. Because of his poor academic performance, her parents sent Ishan to a boarding school. Ishan knew art teacher Ram Shakar Nikam, a cheerful and optimistic instructor at a tulip school for young children with a developmental disability, joined the school. He suspects that Ishan has a dyslexia and helped him to overcome his disability. He reviewed Ishan's work and concluded that his academic shortcomings are because of dyslexia. Then his teacher visited the school principal and obtained his permission to become a Ishan tutor. With a good care, he attempted to improve Ishan reading and writing by using a technique developed for people with dyslexia. Ishan soon developed an interest in his study and made improve of his ability.
देखो इन्हें ये है ओस की बूंदें, पत्तों की गोद में आसमां से कूदे, अंगड़ाई ले फिर करवट बदल कर, नाजुक से मोती हंस दे फिसल कर, खो न जाए तारे ज़मीं पर।
I am Amira and now I will talk about the characters in this movie. Okay, actually there are a lot of characters in this movie, but here I'm just state a few of the characters. Okay, first is Darsha Safari as Ishan's Awasti. Okay, second is Amir Khan as Ram Shankar Nikum, which is he is actually Ishan's teachers in this movie. Okay, next is Tiska Chopra as Maya Awasti, which is Ishan's mother. Okay. Next is Vipin Sharma as Nankishore Awasti, which is Ishan's father. And lastly is Sachet Engineer as Johan Awasti. He is Ishan's brother in this movie. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amirah binti Muhammad Arif. So let's continue with the background of the client. The client named Ishan Awasti is an 8 to 9 years old boy who is sit at grade 3 class because of his education.
जैसे छिड़ता कोई साज है, हर काम को टाला करते हैं, ये सपने पाला करते हैं। ये वक्त के कभी गुलाम नहीं, इन्हें किसी बात का ध्यान नहीं, तितली से मिलने जाते हैं, ये पेड़ों से बतियाते।
Everybody thinks that he was a lazy, naughty, dumb and idiot because of he cannot reading and writing. Some of them think that he was like to fooling around. So actually, Ishan has dyslexia but nobody recognizes it.
The letters are dancing.
Even though his family, until he was sent to the boarding school, and new art teachers recognize and dig more what happened to him and what actually his problems.
Why can't you?
His father, Nankishore Awasthi, is a successful executive, and his mother, Maya Awasthi, is a housewife, and his brother, Johan Awasthi, is an example student. So they always frustrated with Ishan because of Ishan always get poor educational result. So his father decided to send him at the boarding school as to punish Ishan.
अरे चलो देर हो रही है।
But at the boarding school, Ishan rapidly sinks into a state of fear, anxiety and depression because of he always being tortured by his teachers at the school.
होमवर्क अधूरा, क्यों ध्यान नहीं पूरा? मूर्ख शिरोमणि। क्यों नंबर अभी कम, क्यों प्रश्न नहीं सॉल्व? क्यों ज्योग्राफी में गोल बोल 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 बोल? क्या फर्क? दाहिने हाथ में 5। Detention. Idiot.
So the problem that Ishan had is difficult to read and write, and his gross motor skill is poor. He cannot even button his shirt and tie his shoes. He also cannot receive many instructions. For the example, turn to page 39, paragraph 3, line 2. And then one day, his new art teacher, which is Ram Shankanika, helped Ishan to overcome his problem. He started to help Ishan by teach him with variety of learning that make Ishan more understand with what he learned. Then finally, Ishan can overcome his problem. That's all from me. Thank you. Let's continue with the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Amira Mushida binti Hazri. Now, I will talk about the problem that faced by a boy whose name Ishan Awasthi in this movie. First, the problem that faced by Ishan is he have a problem to read and to write. Okay, Ishan could not read what his teachers asked him to read. Ishan also have to move to another school. At that school, his teacher asked him to interpret a poetry, but Ishan interpret the poetry according to his own word, his own opinion, not the real meaning of the poetry. Okay. There is one teacher at that school whose name Ram Shankar Niku realized that actually Ishan faced a problem. His teacher start to find Ishan's exercise book, and his teacher see a lot of incorrect answer in Ishan's book. His teacher also go to Ishan family's house, and he tell about the problem faced by Ishan. Okay, he say that Ishan confused with the letters or alphabet. For example, the letters B becomes D, D becomes B. For example, the word TOP become POT. Okay, like that. Okay, according to his teacher, Ishan actually faced a problem to read and to write, and it called dyslexia. According to his teachers also, sometimes they also have a problem to follow the instruction.
Read the sentence loud and proper.
The diagnosed criteria for dyslexia from DSM-5, difficulty learning and using academic skills as indicated by the presence of at least one of the following symptoms that have persisted for at least 6 months. It will have the difficulty to inaccurate or slow and effortful word reading, to difficulty understanding the meaning of what is read. Other than that, difficulty with spelling, difficulty with written expression, difficulty mastering number sense, number fact or calculation, and lastly, difficulty with mathematical reasoning. The affected academic skills are substantially and quantifiably below those expected for the individual's chronological age and cause significant interference with academic or occupational performance or with activities of daily living. As confirmed by individually administered standardized achievement measures and comprehensive clinical assessment for individual aged 17 years and older, a documented history of impairing learning difficulties may be substituted for the standardized assessment.
Third, learning difficulty begin during school age year but may not become fully manifest until the demand for those affected academic school exceed the individual limited capacity, for example, reading and writing lengthy. Fourth, learning difficulty are not better accounted by intellectual disability, uncharacteristic visual or auditory acuity, or other mental or neurological disorder.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farah Tasni binti Muhammad Basri. My matric number 1180150. So today I will present what is symptoms of dyslexia. Okay, today I will focus only 4 symptoms that I get from this movie and also from the journal. For the first symptom that I get, visual disturbance when reading. Okay. For example, from this movie, a teacher asked Ishan to read sentences in front of the class on the blackboard, but he cannot read because he look at the letters on the blackboard like dancing and always move around on the blackboard.
A noun is a naming word, a pronoun is used instead of a noun, an adjective describes a noun, a verb describes the action of a noun, an adverb describes the action of a verb. A conjunction joins two sentences together, a preposition is used to describe the relationship between a noun and a pronoun, and an interjection is a word thrown in to express feeling. Have you got it, Mr. Ishan Nandakishore Avasti? Why can't you? Idiot! Why can't you? Idiot!
The second symptom of dyslexia, the children of dyslexia people may also suffer from a low self-esteem and get targeted by bullies. For example, from this movie also, Ishan always get bullies from their friends.
वापस पनिश पनिश होता है डफर
ये डपर हर टाइम क्या पनिश होता है
ट्वाइंग इसका तो रोज का है
Go in now.
The third symptoms of dyslexia is difficulty reading out loud. For instance, from this movie, when a teacher asks Ishan to read, but he cannot read aloud.
Trying to be funny? Read the sentence loud and proper. I said loud and proper, Ishan. Loud and proper. Loud and proper.
The last symptoms that I found from this movie and also from the journal, dyslexia people have a problem to processing and understanding what he or she hears. Okay, for example, from this movie, when Ishan's teacher asked him to open the textbook, but he cannot process and understand what the orders from his teacher.
Ishan! I said page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Read the first sentence and point out the adjectives. Page 38, Ishan. Adit Labba, just help the boy. Come on, the rest of you look into your books.
Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Faratasni binti Muhammad Basri. My matric number 11800150. So today, I will talk about what is causes of dyslexia. There are two causes was mentioned in this film, Taare Zameen Par. First is genetic and the second is neurological.
लेकिन ईशान ही क्यों?
इसका कोई जवाब नहीं है. इट्स अ न्यूरोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर, किसी को भी हो सकता है, कभी कभी जेनेटिक भी होता है. आम आदमी की जबान में कहूं तो ब्रेन में जरा सी वायरिंग की प्रॉब्लम है बस.
Okay. First causes of dyslexia according to this film. Okay. According to Roche and Watson 2019, the prevalence of dyslexia is higher in those children who have a family history of dyslexia. The risk of having dyslexia in first-degree relatives who have this reading and spelling disorder than in the general population. A young children with a family history of dyslexia have reduced activation in neural correlates of phonological processing before reading onset compared to those without family history of dyslexia. However, dyslexia should not be considered as a pure genetic component. The second causes of dyslexia, according to this film, according to Roche and Watson 2019, studies using magnetic resonance imaging, which is MRI, and other medical assessment devices provide evidence that most individuals with dyslexia have reduced brain volume less than normal gray matter and a significant reduction of the outer white matter compartment of the brain. According to Hudson, High and Al-Otaiba, gray matter is what we see when we look at brain and is mostly composed of nerve cells Its primary function is processing information. White matter is found within the deeper parts of the brain and is composed of connective fibers covered in myelin, the coating designed to facilitate communication between nervous cells. Okay, white matter is primarily responsible for information transfer around the brain.
My name is Hafiza Atiramati Nordin. Okay, so now we move to treatment for the client in the movie. Okay, first is cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT. From the movie, we can see that the client, Ishan, who has a problem with learning disorder that affects his ability to read, spell, write, and speak. So people around him always thought he was a sluggish and weak student in lessons. This causes him to feel inferior and always feels isolated from his family and friends. So it causes Ishan always feels sad, alone, and sometimes he feels stressed. So, cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) is a talking therapy that can help the client manage his problems by changing the way he thinks and behaves. CBT cannot remove his problems, but can help the client manage him in a more positive way. It encourages him to examine how his actions can affect how he think and feel. Talking and changing his behavior can change how he think, cognitive and what he do behavior. This can make the client feel better about life. Number 2 is psychoanalytic theory. In the movie, we can see that Ishan seems rebellious and cannot accept his situation, like sluggish in lessons. He was often bullied by his friends and often scolded by his father. He felt isolated and unloved. He could not accept the fact that he had to be sent to a boarding school because his father felt he was lazy and did not want to study. Sometimes he will give up and become angry to his father because his father does not understand him. He also draws the pictures of his family without him to show what he feels. Okay, so psychoanalytic theory will help the clients reduce stress as a result of past experiences. Teaching the client to understand what is going on in the client so that he or she achieve a mental understanding of the problem he is facing. And then the last one is psychoanalytic theory help the client improve the client's personal adjustment and complete unfinished developmental stages.
इडियट डफर किधर फेंका जा भी बॉल लेके आ चल ये बोला ना बॉल लेके आ समझता नहीं है चल क्या देख रहा क्या देख क्या रहा तेरे को बोला ना बॉल लाने को समझता नहीं देखो हाँ क्या देख रहा बॉल लाने को बोला ना ले क्या बॉल
The last one is learning therapy. This movie shows that Ishan has a problem with learning disorder. It means dyslexia. Okay, he cannot read the book, cannot write properly, and always write down the numbers or letters. He also cannot solve the simple problem of mathematics and cannot give attention or focus in the class. So Ishan's teacher helped Ishan to find his own abilities and prove that Ishan had a high IQ. So using learning therapy like use media or picture to help facilitate in introducing letters, distinguishing letters until finally the dyslexic child is able to read and write well and fluently. Composing a word with colorful toy, shape, or toy blocks can help the children to connect sounds with letters. Learning therapy also can help the children with dyslexia. We can use animal toys so that they can easily identify the animal. So the last one is we also can help the child who have a dyslexia by going up and down the stairs to learn to count in the mathematics. Just that, thank you.
In conclusion, everyone who is born in this world is unique in their own way, so you can dream what you want until it becomes reality. For example, like the Ishan who likes art very much until he wins the best art in their school. You can do what you want, although the other people will judge you. Don't ignore about that, so you can be a successful in one day.
For the conclusion, we can conclude that although Ishan has suffered from dyslexia, he has his own ability and advantage. He is very good and talented in the art. He has a high imagination and can produce very beautiful painting and drawing. His painting is very beautiful and able to match with his teacher who is good in painting. So that's why we must not underestimate dyslexia children because they also have their own advantage and ability. Thank you.
I am Amira and now I will talk a little bit about conclusion. In conclusion, near the end of the movie, Ishan can read and he also can write. Okay, so we can know that Ishan teachers already do a good job in order to help Ishan facing his problem. Thank you.
Okay, my conclusion for this movie is for parents who have children having dyslexia, when they recognize that their children who acting strange, they need to get or to meet professionalism, which is psychologists, to check what happened to their children, so that their children can get some treatment to cure their problem.
So for the other conclusion, the person that have dyslexia have their own talent. It is important to facilitate the development of their unique artistic and other abilities to its full capacity rather than to overemphasize on the correction of the disturbed code symbol operation. For the example, Ishan is very talented in painting. So his painting is very beautiful rather than kid that same age with him.
ये आपका ईशान और ये उसकी पेंटिंग. Just look at it, what a masterpiece. He's a very talented boy and I'm really happy to have him in my school.